Hi everyone, this is Jacob Argy, and I've decided to start a blog series with an accompanying podcast. The purpose is to discuss a wide range of topics regarding the funeral field. Each week I'll be writing a blog or two that will be posted to our website under a newly added blog tab. That can be found on our website www.dargyfh.com, near the top right of the page. Here on YouTube, I'll be recording myself simply talking about the topic for those who don't care to read it, and allowing for two forms of the content to be shared. Thank you for walking this new road with me and my staff at the Argy Family Funeral Homes. As we got started here, I had been thinking, what would be a good topic to start on? Then it occurred to me, let's talk about something that no one wants to talk about. Let's talk about death. It's not exactly a fun topic, right? I get it. Most of us would rather talk about literally anything else. Work, what we're having for dinner, even random things like what's on TV. But the second someone brings up death, things get weird. People get quiet, or they change the subject. And honestly, I get why it's hard. Death is a big deal. It brings up emotions we don't always know how to handle. Fear, sadness, uncertainty, even guilt sometimes. It's heavy. Some folks even have that gut feeling that talking about it is somehow tempting fate, like if we bring it up, we're inviting it in. But here's what I've learned. Avoiding the conversation doesn't make death any less real. It just makes it harder to deal with when it does happen. Now, I'm not saying we should sit around all day having deep, serious talks about death, but I do think there's something really powerful about opening up that conversation. And believe it or not, it's not about being morbid or negative. It's actually about love. It's about making things easier for the people we care about, so that when the time comes, they're not left feeling lost or overwhelmed. So why do we avoid talking about it? Well, a lot of it comes down to how we've been raised. In many cultures, death is almost a taboo subject, something you don't bring up unless you absolutely have to. And because of that, people aren't used to having these conversations. Then there's the fear of the unknown. Even people with strong faith or a sense of what happens after we die still feel a bit uneasy thinking about it. And that's completely normal. Another big one is just emotional discomfort. Let's face it, death stirs up feelings most of us would rather not deal with. And a lot of families, especially older generations, didn't grow up in households where emotional topics like grief were openly talked about. It was just something you dealt with privately. But avoiding those emotions doesn't make them go away. It just leaves us feeling isolated when we do have to face them. Here's what I found though. Having conversations about death can actually be one of the kindest things we do for each other. It might sound strange, but it's true. For one thing, it helps ease anxiety. When we talk about the things we fear, they tend to feel a little smaller, a little less overwhelming. It's like shining a flashlight in a dark room. You realize it's not as scary as it seemed. And just as important, it takes a huge weight off the shoulders of the people we leave behind. Imagine a family trying to figure out what their loved one would have wanted, right in the middle of grieving. They're making decisions about funeral plans, burial options, finances, all while their hearts are breaking. But if those conversations have already happened, if your family knows what you wanted, they don't have to carry that burden. They can focus on honoring your life and supporting each other. It's also worth saying that these conversations aren't just about planning, they're about connection. When we talk about death, we end up talking about life, about what really matters, about how we want to be remembered, about the people we care about most. These are some of the most meaningful, honest conversations we can have. If you're wondering how to start a conversation like this, you're not alone. It can feel awkward at first, especially if you're not sure how your family will react, but the key is to keep it casual. It doesn't have to be some big, serious sit-down talk. Sometimes it's as simple as bringing it up during a quiet moment, maybe when you're out for a walk or sitting around the table after dinner. You might say something like, "Hey, I was thinking about how we've never really talked about what we'd want if something happened. Maybe it's worth having that conversation sometime." And look, not everyone's going to be ready to dive into that discussion right away. That's okay. The goal isn't to force it. It's to create a space where, when they are ready, they feel comfortable opening up. Be patient. These conversations tend to unfold over time, and that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, talking about death isn't about being negative, it's about love. It's about making sure the people we care about are taken care of, and about finding a little peace of mind for ourselves, knowing we've prepared for what's ahead. If this is something you're thinking about but aren't quite sure how to start, we're always here. Whether you want help figuring out how to have that first conversation, or you're thinking about pre-planning, or you just want someone to talk to, we're happy to help. No pressure, no expectations, just support. Thanks for listening. Please provide feedback on the topics you would like to hear about. Leave a comment below for me, and the link to the written blog can be found in the description. If you found value in this, please like, subscribe, and share. We're here to help.